Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from PocketNow.com. In this video, we're going to talk about the hardware on the HP Pre 3, the best WebOS smartphone that you can buy right now. Let's get to it. So again, as you know, the Pre 3 is the last smartphone HP is going to make with WebOS. That doesn't mean that there won't be any more WebOS devices out there. It just means that HP is not going to be making them. And it's the best smartphone yet to run WebOS. It's got a 1.4 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon single-core processor. Wish it were dual-core. We've got 512 megabytes of RAM. We've got a 3.6-inch larger screen. Finally, WVGA. They didn't push well beyond that, just keeping with sort of that high-end spec of 800 down by 480 across, which is much better than all previous WebOS devices, which were only HVGA, or even less in the case of the Veer. The design is relatively boring, actually. It looks just like a Pre 2, just a little taller. It even looks a little bit like the Pre Plus. So there's sort of the family of devices. You know it's a Pre, which is kind of a problem. The original Pre came out in 2009, and the Pre 3 just looks like a stretched out Pre. And so at that point you start thinking, well, this device could really use a refresh, but they didn't do that with the Pre 3. They kept it with the same design. And if we go next to the Veer 4G on AT&T, they're almost identical here, except one's much bigger than the other. Now, what they did with the Pre 3, because the device is larger, is that they could make the keyboard better or bigger. And we'll turn off the screen. We're going to talk about how the WVGA resolution impacts WebOS, because we haven't yet seen WVGA on a WebOS device. So if we compare the keyboard on the Pre 3 with the Veer, there's no contest. You could probably fit two Veer keyboards in the Pre 3, and the case needs to be snapped there. If we compare it to the Pre 2, you'll notice that even then, the keys are smaller. So you get the best keyboard, the biggest keyboard on the Pre 3, which really makes for a great typing experience. There is a good amount of tactile feedback. It makes kind of a clicky sound. It's a pretty good keyboard, but there still is no on-screen keyboard in this version of WebOS. It's 2.2, so if you want to tap out a quick email or text message without sliding open the slider, you can't do that yet. All right, so let's move around the device here. Okay, so starting off up here, we've got the speaker there. To the right, that's not a front-facing camera, it's a light sensor. You also have a proximity sensor up here. We've got this 3.6-inch capacitive multi-touch display. Again, it's WVGA resolution, that's 800 down by 480 across. Down here on the bottom, we've got the little capacitive button there that will also serve as a notification if you have a new email or whatnot. If we flip over to the side, we get a soft-touch rubber, soft-touch plastic actually, covering the sides and the back, which makes it feel sturdy in hand. Have a volume rocker adorned in chrome on the left side, nothing on the bottom. There is the charging port for the micro USB. Of course, this is touchstone compatible if you like to get your inductive charging on. And then on the top here in the upper right corner, same location as all WebOS devices, power standby, and of course, from the days of the Trio, the Palm days, we have the quick way to silence the ringer there. Now over on the back, like the Pre 2, we do have a flash with the camera. This time it's been bumped to 5 megapixels. We have a speaker on the bottom and a nice HP logo. Interestingly, the Pre 2, even though it came after the HP acquisition, had the Palm logo on the back. So now they're full HP, but again, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to be making any more WebOS hardware. We can pop off the back battery cover and see what we've got underneath. We've got a SIM card slot, of course. Now, this particular model, this is the UK model, has the bands necessary to do 3G in the US on AT&T. When we did the unboxing, we didn't realize that. But if you import this phone, if you really want the Pre 3, you can put in your AT&T SIM card, and boom, you've got 3G. So we can pop out the battery here and take a look at the capacity. It is 1230 milliamp hours. We'll do further tests on battery life to determine how good the battery life is now that they've got a larger screen to power on the Pre 3. And you're not going to find a micro SD slot. The Pre 3 has 8 gigabytes of built-in storage. Really not enough these days, but certainly is for some people who don't put that many apps and that many pictures on their device, it will be enough. So we'll pop back in the battery, put the battery cover back on. So there aren't any surprises with the hardware on the HP Pre 3. It is what you've come to expect from WebOS or from HP, and that's kind of one of the problems with it, with the whole platform in general. They don't exceed expectations. Ever since Palm came out with the product in 2009, it hasn't evolved that much beyond what it is today, which is a big problem. WebOS needs a company that can iterate faster, that can come out with hardware that doesn't just sort of meet the specifications of a device 6 months ago, but exceeds what we think is possible right now when it's released. This device was first talked about at CES, or a little bit around that time. And by the time it came out in the summer of 2011, it's just not interesting anymore, and that's sort of one of the problems with the Pre 3. Which isn't to say it's a bad phone. If you want to get one for yourself, you can get one at clove.co.uk. Stocks are dwindling. Prices are actually going down. They started off around $500 and now they're in the 400s. And again, this is the unlocked version, UK version, that happens to work on AT&T's 3G network if you want a Pre 3. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the Pre 3. Are you going to get one, or is this totally off your radar? And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And of course, thank you for watching. That's it for now.